back in the polytunnel, and I thought it'd be an opportunity to share with you how I grow broad beans or plant broad beans from seed. I mentioned the other day when I was planting the peas into toilet rolls that you can start them off in modules or toilet rolls, but broad beans are quite a hardy bean. They're one of the first that you can plant, and certainly inside a polytunnel where the soil is much drier and warmer, I think you'll find they take off better for you. If you don't have a tunnel or a greenhouse, you can plant them outside, but I just hold off a few more weeks until the soil is a little bit drier. I've prepared an area next to the strawberries, actually. Hopefully they don't mind each other, where I'm going to plant my broad beans this year. Last year I had them in this middle bed here, and for crop rotation purposes I'm moving them. In a polytunnel environment, it's important still to try and keep to your crop rotation. Tomatoes and peppers, aubergines would all be related to each other. So if you've planted them in this bed this year, the following year you might want to consider putting them in this bed, and then the next year over in that bed. That way you get at least 2 years, 3 years between planting these together. And crop rotation is really essential in an organic practice to prevent any build-up of pests and diseases, to help with any soil nutrient depletion. You know, if this chard, for instance, has been growing here since last year, if I just kept growing chard in this bed, it's always going to use the same nutrients for its energy. So it's important to move things around regularly, so that you don't deplete the soil of nutrients. In the meantime, let's get started with these broad beans. Today I'm going to be planting this crimson flower broad bean from our seed savers. Is it just me who gets so excited about growing these old varieties? A rare variety dating back to the 1700s. Highly scented crimson flowers that produce lovely tender beans. I'm really excited about planting this one, actually. Bees tend to love the scent that comes from broad beans, and even if you don't like the bean itself, it's worth growing them just for their scenty flowers. They're just beautiful. And as somebody who doesn't eat meat, I get a lot of protein from beans, so this is brilliant. I plan to save these. As I've mentioned before, I've used organic compost. Organic manure is added in here. They're an organic bean, so I'm going to be able to save beans from the pods and use them next year. There are 20 seeds in this packet, so that will give me enough to be getting on with. So as I mentioned, I've 20 beans in the seed packet, and I'm going to sow them at around about that. My stick there is about 6 to 7 inches long. I'm going to start them here. And just like with the garlic the other week and the other seeds, I just place them in position first. And then I'll bury them. It's very important to ensure there's good airflow around broad beans, or they can pick up a mildew just like any of the other plants if they're too closely packed together. And the main thing you're going to need to do to look after this crop is just to keep them weeded. Once they're in position, I'm actually just going to get my stick there. This is my last row here. And I'm going to have to make sure I label this patch. Once they're in position, I'm just going to push it down about 2 or 3 inches. So kind of up to my knuckle. This is nice soft ground here. If it was hard, I'd be reluctant to push anything down. Oh, look at that. I'll just find a dock. The last thing I want is a dock near that one. There's the root from that dock. Now I'm going to have to try and find my bean. Oh, there it is. Pop it in there. That's it. That little patch is sown now. So all we have to do is make sure it's kept weeded. I might end up just putting some stakes at the front here as the plants grow to stop them flopping over into the pathway. But they don't need any other support other than that. Outdoors, I sometimes make a frame support with bamboo canes and some string. And that, again, it's just to stop the wind knocking them over rather than anything else. When the plants begin to set flowers and then the bean pods or the fruit, that's when you need to start making sure there's definitely water and to help them set. And also, if you're growing them inside, to keep the polytunnel door open to encourage bees to come in and help with pollination.